Ani, my name is Mike Ireland, and welcome to my literacy landscape project. For this project, I chose the community in which I work, and that is Mount Pleasant, Michigan, located about 150 miles northwest of Detroit, 73 miles north of Lansing. It's considered central Michigan for some, northern Michigan for others. It is the seat of Isabella County, which includes the community of Shepherd, um, and also is home to the Saginaw Chippewa Indian Tribe of Michigan. Some local demographics: the total population just of Mount Pleasant is just over 21,000. It's majority female and is majority white. Uh, Interestingly, about this data from data.census.gov is that American Indian and Alaska Native only totaled 602. My assumption is the two or more races include a lot of indigenous folks who identified under both instead of just one. Uh, there's a fair amount of people in the Mount Pleasant area that live outside of the city limits, including obviously the Isabella Indian Reservation, that's its formal name, is located outside of the city limits. There's a large number of students that for Central Michigan University that live out in Union Township. Uh, but a lot of the demographic data, if I included more than just the city of Mount Pleasant, went with the larger zip code, we're going pretty far out, all the way up to Beale City, and down to just north of Shepherd. You can see here key data is that the median household income is only $41,000. There's a lot of different housing units, almost like two and a half, or one for every two and a half people. The total number of households is almost 8,000. So you can see that this is a community that may not be the same as a local community nearby. Using the Mount Pleasant City School District, which obviously is more than just the city of Mount Pleasant. It's one of the two biggest school districts in the county, with Shepherd being the other. And when we start talking about our tribal community, there is a split. There are a number of people that go to Shepherd schools versus Mount Pleasant. And you can see key detail here, 48% are considered economically disadvantaged. So almost one out of every two students. So when doing the pictures here, as I went around town this week, I wanted to look at three spots: campus, the greater Mount Pleasant area, and the tribal community. Because I'm aware of the rich linguistic history of our tribal community. I wanted to make sure that was a key part of this. Whereas a lot of local communities might have English sprinkled in, there is a vibrant history of Anishinaabe, and I think it's important to raise awareness of that, as frankly, a lot of folks don't understand it or don't realize it's here. So our first picture is CMU, Fire Up Chips. Interesting detail here is Chips is short for Chippewa, which is an anglicized version of Ojibwe, the actual tribal name. Chips or Chippewa is part of the formal legal name that of the Saginaw Chippewa Indian Tribe, because of its dealings with the federal government. So it works. And obviously, there is a positive relationship between CMU and the tribal government. The community as a whole welcomes Central Michigan University. As you can see, this piece of quote unquote graffiti. There were several of these around the downtown area in front of doors, kind of welcoming the Central Michigan University community to come into and spend money in their businesses as well. There's a lot of signs. Most of them are in English. I chose this one because um, I'm convinced that my stepson is there every weekend. So that's kind of a nod to him. And frankly, many of us visited if you grew up in within an hour of here because it was one place that, you could frequent. Some literacy doesn't require words. These are the golden arches. I have a 3-year-old nephew that as soon as he sees those arches, he knows what that means. It means that he's about to con Uncle Mike into a Happy Meal. I thought it was kind of a good touch to have here. There are some signs in Spanish, but it seemed like almost everything I saw that was in Spanish was for a Mexican restaurant, like El Jinete or Los Amigos. Um, there is a decent sized Hispanic population, and then some of those are also going to be under the 2 or more races with our indigenous community. But I would like to see more Spanish beyond just restaurants. I know that some stores do include Spanish signs. I believe Walmart's had signs that were bilingual. I think that's kind of important in the community, especially because we are kind of on a main road. There are going to be people that speak Spanish that travel through here. But some places will use bright colors to get your attention. Unfortunately, this one isn't a positive one, but for Big Lots closing, they use the bit bright yellow. We're going to see it. Saw it enough that I decided to walk in there when taking pictures. I didn't see a lot of actual graffiti, which I guess is a positive from some points of view. This one was your postcard one, would be a great spot to take a selfie or a picture if you happen to be in town visiting and you didn't want to only use the CMU seal over in front of Warner. Very nice. You can see some of our businesses. No, numbers are a part of our literacy. So we knew exactly when you could see Frozen Junior at the Broadway. All signs that I came across in public parks were completely in English, which makes sense when English is pretty much spoken by everyone, even with amongst Anishinaabe speakers. They're going to be bilingual as well, so they're going to understand this if anyone actually ever reads these signs. And this isn't a sign, but a sign of the literacy landscape. I did come across a couple of these mini libraries, and coincidentally, that was in front of a free book fair that was hosted at the Discovery Museum this weekend. I was able to look at a couple of different historical markers, the founding of Mount Pleasant. These signs are always in English, even when it probably would benefit in updated ones to include Anishinaabe. This one is located from the Indian Cemetery, and I know that's not the term that most of us use, but is present there. Like I said, would love to see an update. Now, obviously, there's a lot that goes on, and in a 10-minute video, I can't get in depth of why the language bilingual is at best. But I will say that the boarding school system has a huge role in that. You were literally beaten and tortured if you tried to speak your language. You were punished. So there was a drop off of the use of Anishinaabe that now the tribal school and different departments are trying to bring back. This comes from the school in which I teach, Wimajiquad. This is the library, which loosely translated here means the reading room. Tribal businesses do include some Anishinaabe, like Nabakade. It's going to be, you're going to have some Anishinaabe. You're also going to have some English because you still are trying to appeal to a community by and large doesn't know the language. Same thing with Zebwing, which is a very famous museum, but again, Anishinaabe, English. And another example, stop sign, so kind of giving road directions. This is located in front of the old Saginaw Chippewa Academy. You can see the stop sign on the right in English and Anishinaabe in the left. these were the references. If you'd like to check out more information. To wrap up in 10 minutes, that really can't get into depth about the all of the terrible things that happened to kind of push Anishinaabe in a way. It is awesome that there is now a push to bring it back. So maybe if I were, when my kids or my grandkids were to do this same project for EDU 635, that maybe they will see something completely different. Well, thank you for viewing this video. I hope everyone has a Minogijigad, which means a great day. Tamapi. Goodbye.